Next game, we have the Vanderbilt Commodores going down to Baton Rouge to take on the LSU Tigers. Over-under in this game is 54.5. LSU is favored by 7.5.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It was a game, would have been a huge game a couple weeks ago. Now both teams have a little bit of a slide as of late, LSU more than Vanderbilt. I like LSU to attack in this game again. I think that they've gotten a little bit away from their identity. Rain hurt them in the Alabama game. I think some game planning, some poor bounce back hurt them against Florida. They didn't get Kyron Lacey involved enough in the game last week.
Yep.
Vanderbilt's defense, I think, will lend itself to them throwing the ball to these guys a little bit more. Vanderbilt pass rush not as effective. This game looks like one where LSU's offense can perform more like they want to, whereas the opposing team isn't holding them back from that.
Absolutely. In Vanderbilt, we've kind of talked about it all season that defense has been kind of their kryptonite. That's been kind of the issue the past couple games against South Carolina and against some of these other opponents. This is where, like you said, LSU should look to get guys like Kyron Lacey more involved, guys like Caden Durham more involved in the rushing game. And the question I asked, and you see as my theme is, like, should we expect a lot of scoring with the Tigers versus the Commodores? Offensively, I would expect LSU to score a good amount. I think that maybe Vanderbilt can get the offense back going a little bit more in this game as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we could see some scoring to the standard of these teams. Vanderbilt, we know they slow the game down a lot. They control possession of the games that they play in. And Vanderbilt loves to run the ball from the quarterback standpoint, interesting runs, just like Alabama did in that game. After the game, Brian Kelly harped on the fact that they had a plan to contain the quarterback against Alabama and just didn't execute on the field. I believe him that a plan was there. I think that plan will be easier to execute in this game. So I think that they could shut down some of this weird play style of Vanderbilt that at the beginning of the season was catching a lot of teams off guard. And as slowly as the season's gone on, has become a little bit more on tape, figured out, manageable is a good way to call it. So, yeah, I think we could see some score. And I think Vanderbilt slowing in the game is maybe going to hurt a little bit of that, but LSU is going to go deep. So that could bring it back.
I could definitely bring it back. And LSU, this is a big one for them being at home. Obviously, the Alabama game was not advantageous for them at home, but they were able to beat Ole Miss at home, right? I think LSU fans are just starving for a convincing win. The last time we've seen a pretty convincing win was against Arkansas. This Vanderbilt game, although they're not playing for the same goals that they had at the beginning of the season, it's a great opportunity for them to get a 7-point win or a 14-point win. 7.5 would be great for people that are taking LSU as a favorite, right? But to get a pretty convincing win to establish that this is where we are as a program.
Yeah,
this is the type of team we are. No matter how good or not good Vanderbilt is this year, it's like this is the type of program that we are.
Yeah, yep. Use your weapons. You got good weapons out there. You got good skill. QB's got an arm. He makes some poor decisions at times, but you got receivers that are going to get open, use it, attack in the air, and throw the ball deep. If you're Vanderbilt, I think you're going to struggle to do what the other teams that have beat LSU have done. It was an uncharacteristic O-line performance last week against Florida from LSU. I don't think that Vanderbilt have the same opportunities to get pressure. So if you're Vanderbilt, slow the game down. You might have an opportunity to keep it close via that, and winning there late with, in a back and forth type game. I like LSU to bounce back here. They lost against Alabama. They lost last week. I think at some point that's got to stop. I think it's here. So I like LSU 34-13.
Yeah, I think LSU sitting at about 3 or 4 in a row dropped, right? And what those teams, like Alabama was able to beat them from a rushing perspective. I don't think Vanderbilt's there from a rushing perspective. They can run pretty well, but not to Alabama's level. Ole Miss was able to beat them more in the air. And that's Vanderbilt's offensively is okay in the air. Eli Stowers is, pretty decent when it comes to catching passes. But I like LSU to take this one. I'm going to say 21-10. I think it's pretty low scoring. But I like LSU in this one.